What is going on, y'all? Welcome to Atlanta, Georgia, and welcome to Georgia Tech. This one has been on my list for a while. It's one of the last ACC schools I've yet to go to, so let's go check it out. I'm currently on the very south of campus. Right behind me there is Bobby Dodd Stadium, home of Georgia Tech football. So check out this area right next to the stadium. Just a bunch of these, I don't know, my flowers, whatever the bright yellow ones are, in this really well done lawn. Solid view of the Atlanta skyline over there, still right next to the stadium. I heard during games, especially at night, it's actually really cool, the view of the skyline that you can get. Well, I was going to go check out their football stadium and see if I could get in it, but they are absolutely tearing it up right now. Like, I assume they're making some major renovations here, but the way it looks right now, there's no way that's ready to go in a month for football season, right? Yeah, that's crazy. But there are a bunch of little residence halls directly to the left. And up in front of the dorms, you have a bunch of frat and sorority houses, and these are like the most unique collection of frat and sorority houses that I've ever seen in terms of how they're all designed, because they're all different from each other and pretty nice. The what is that? Phi Kappa Sigma. Their nickname is the Skull House. What does that mean? I don't know. That right there might be one of the nicest frat, probably sorority houses I've ever seen. What is that? Kappa Alpha Theta? That's such a nice house, and it's right on that bridge that goes to Midtown. Alright, so even though I wasn't able to find myself a way into the football stadium, I got into the Student Success Center, whatever that is, and it has a pretty sweet overlook. Cool to see. Although Georgia Tech is my UNC's kryptonite, and we lost here last year, which I was actually very close to going to, but decided not to last minute, thank God. The top deck of a parking deck being used as basketball courts is definitely a first, but honestly, I respect it. This would be a fun place to hoop with the skyline in the background. You also got some tennis courts back there. Well, this is not ideal. We've only seen like 20% of campus so far, so let's hope this passes soon. Literally every building I went into earlier was open. Now I can't find one that's open. My camera is getting drenched. Why do you have to do this to me, Atlanta? Cool concept, but these look like the most uncomfortable seats I've ever seen. I don't know why you would ever want to sit here. Okay, I found a building, but I really don't know what it is. There are like children in that room in some summer camp or something, and I'm not trying to walk in there with the camera. Okay, I didn't do a good job looking at the map because I didn't realize the next building over from that one was their main university library, which I am now taking refuge in. This is a massive library. It's really nice. I don't know if it's at the level of Hunt Library at NC State, but that's kind of what it reminds me of. Come on, does this not just scream engineering school at you? Maybe it's just me, but it definitely does to me. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Alright, well, we just walked out of that building, and what I'm learning is that's actually just called the Learning Commons, the Cloud Learning Commons, and that smaller building back there is actually their library, which is like the more traditional one, book stacks and stuff. But I think that building is what like a lot of students would use as their traditional library spot to do work. But yeah, that spit us right into this, which I would imagine is like the main greenery on campus. It's just like, you know, this massive field, and it's okay, you know, it's not like your traditional quad that most colleges have. There's no significant building on the end of it. It's nice that there is this break in all the buildings, and I saw a couple people playing spike ball earlier. Then, I don't know if you can see it, but that building has a big Coke sign on it, so that's probably Coke's corporate building, or one of their corporate buildings, because obviously they're born in Atlanta. That was a loud one, as you can tell by everyone's reactions on campus. I have a feeling the rain hasn't actually stopped. We're going from the Learning Commons back there to the Student Commons, the John Lewis Student Center right here. And once again, if y'all don't know what my thing is, I think our student union at UNC is not good. I think they could do way better with it. And basically every single school that I've toured so far has had a better one than ours. So we're gonna see if this one also beats it, and I'm gonna say it right now before even walking in. It definitely does. Oh my god. They have a Panda Express. I haven't had Panda Express in so long, and I'm hungry. I think we have to do it, we're doing it. Well, that was quite heartbreaking. They're basically out of everything, and I guess it's because it's 3:45 right now. They close in 15 minutes, but yeah, I just settled for Chick-fil-A instead, which I don't hate because it's also born in Georgia, so maybe it's better here. It means nothing. I'm glad I made it in on time, because god damn, this was not in the forecast for today. It said light rain possible. It looks like all the other restaurants here are closed, but Slutty Vegan is not the name of one that I expected in this student center. Oh my god, they got pool tables and stuff. Yeah, already wins. I mean, again, we have like a couple of pool tables and ping pong tables and stuff. It's just not set up very well. It's at the very bottom. It's, yeah. And you got even more up here on the second floor. You got a bento sushi place, a gyro place, a freaking ramen place. And they're all closed right now, but I assume during normal school days, these are all open. Ice cream place, another eatery, pizza place, and a Jimmy John's. Holy, that's so nice. And a freaking like eye doctor, eyeglass store. What is this place? A ton of different places to sit and do work and all that here as well. Also, they lean into their gold and blue color scheme a lot, I've noticed. It has slightly cleared up. It's still lightly raining, but we are going to trudge up north, and I've noticed this campus just has a lot of random things, stuff that just doesn't exactly fit in, and they don't exactly serve a purpose, but they just kind of look cool. And the only other campus I've seen do that is NC State. So again, very engineering school thing. I've also seen a lot of these like Stinger shuttles, I think is what they're called, everywhere, which I'm sure means they have a pretty good public transit bus system that connects all of GT's campus and Atlanta. This campus is honestly a little bit of a maze. It kind of just like sprawls out in all directions. I don't really know where I'm walking to right now. I'm just going north. I feel like if you were a freshman here, this campus would take a little bit of time to learn and actually get used to, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, I don't think. But there's also just so many different academic buildings around here. I forget that this is like a good 28,000 person school. I used to always think in high school before I started researching colleges that Georgia Tech was private, just from the way it sounded. I never considered applying because, I don't know, engineering was never my thing, and Atlanta didn't sound that exciting to me. But so far walking around, I actually think I would have kind of liked it. Although I don't know, and I don't think I would have gotten in, but that's besides the point. Alright, yeah, I think I'm just fully in the engineering part of everything because that building over there is for like civil, I think. That building is for environmental engineering. Microelectrics research building. I don't even know what that means. I love how you can see bits of the Atlanta skyline from a bunch of different parts of this campus. Again, it's not the nicest, biggest skyline in the world, but it's still a pretty massive city right there. But yeah, out of all these engineering buildings, there's one that stands out from the rest. It's way bigger. It's like its own campus, basically. So let's check out the Klaus Computing Building. If you can't tell from the Ozen ones on the entrance pathway. Yeah, just about as nice as I expected from the outside. And I don't think this is even the main part of this whole building. Well, it happened. I figured this would happen eventually when I try to go into classrooms. I opened the door to that one. Full lecture happening. Probably like 30 or 40 students in there. Worst part is I started hearing some giggles too, even though it was only opening the door for like 1 second. But yeah, this whole building is like dead. I expected there to be no classes or anything going on in here, but of course the one that I check. I've never seen frat houses be this directly on campus. Like right there is the PiCap house directly next to that Klaus Engineering Building. Kind of crazy. No dice at McNeese either. Come on, Georgia Tech, let me have one. Again, cool ballpark though, with some of the buildings of Atlanta in the background. Got the Ford Environmental Science and Technology Building. They got college buildings that are sponsored now. Interesting. The Fiber Optics Network Building might be the most Georgia Tech name of a building I have ever heard. As I continue walking to the northwest part of campus, this campus has so much more like trees and greenery than I initially expected. When you look at it zoomed out on a map, it looks like kind of right in the middle of Atlanta, and it still kind of is, but you really don't feel that. Like, there's obviously a few streets that break it up, and if you walk 15 minutes that way, you're in the heart of Atlanta. But right now, I feel like I'm totally in a college campus that could be like 20 minutes from the nearest big city, which I kind of like. This building is for sustainable design. I just thought it looked really cool from the outside, so decided to check out the inside, and yeah, pretty neat. Very sustainable design. It's like fully wood and a bunch of different reusable materials. I've noticed a lot of schools starting to, or maybe they've always had it, but just having ropes courses in the middle or right next to campus. I'm not complaining. I think it's a cool idea. I've been on ours at UNC and it was pretty fun, but it just feels very random to me. But yeah, this building caught my eye too, because what is going on right here? It is the Manufacturing Institute, so I guess it makes a little bit of sense, but I like it. I like the uniqueness. I mean, come on, that's pretty cool. I like how a lot of the buildings are themed based off of what department they're actually for. Okay, we got another set of pretty big fields over here. I am curious what they use all the space for during the school year, if anything. Alright, as I walk over through their Eco Commons area right here, but there is a whole West Campus area that I unfortunately don't have the time to see. But in that area, you primarily just have a bunch of residence halls. And so I guess the two main areas to have a dorm here are on the west of campus or on the southeast of campus, as we saw earlier by the football stadium. Then I know a lot of students in their junior and or senior year decide to live up in like a proper apartment in Midtown Atlanta, and they do have like a lot of student apartments there as well. Also on the west side, you have the main student rec center at the bottom. You have some rec field, and then at the very top, I guess this is probably disconnected from GT, but you have the Museum of Paper Making, which is the history of paper. Very random, but low-key kind of interesting. I would have checked it out if I had time and if it was open right now. And once again, where the heck am I? I don't feel like I'm in the middle of a college campus right now, let alone one that is inside of a major US city. It seems like they do a really good job of preserving the nature in this area. Having walked through this campus for a while now, I think this would be the perfect campus to bring a bike to, especially in your first couple of years before you have the ability to bring a car here. Fairly spread out. You have a lot of different dedicated bike paths throughout, and you can get to the main part of Atlanta pretty quickly without having to worry about parking. There are a fair bit of like sizable streets that break up this campus though, and a lot of parking garages. Alright, we managed to circle back to the northeastern part of campus, and they have their entire track out here, as well as the home of the ever so esteemed Yellow Jacket basketball program, McCamish Pavilion. It is 5:45 p.m. right now, and there is that notorious Atlanta traffic. Now as I head back over this bridge that goes, you can't see it, but it goes over I-85 to get to Midtown Atlanta, you definitely cannot talk about Georgia Tech without mentioning Atlanta itself. And I've only been to Atlanta twice. I don't personally rate it as an amazing city, like not on the levels of New York or Boston or DC. It's still obviously one of the biggest cities in the US. There's a lot to do. It is a little spread out, but to have even just like this Midtown area, like a 15-minute walk from campus, and it's not a bad walk at all, and have that entire campus back there, I'm a huge fan of that. And like I said, I haven't really explored Atlanta that much, so maybe there's a lot more to do that I just don't really know. And it is also worth noting that there is still one more academic building on Midtown, which is Georgia Tech's business school, the Scheller School of Business. I am not where all these other clips are filmed. I'm like a 10-15 minute walk away, about 5 blocks from the heart of Midtown Atlanta, which is cool that they have a building in this location, but it is kind of odd to me that it's like the only one out here. Walking around Scheller, it's not at like Northwestern or Penn's level, but it's still pretty dang nice. Like this is a sweet business school, and definitely again beats ours at UNC, which is interesting to me because for example at UNC business is like one of the most sought after majors. It's one of the most prestigious, but here business, I've heard like a lot of these schools are kind of like jokingly made fun of, and it's not like the serious major at GT, obviously because of engineering. So overall, I would definitely characterize Georgia Tech as sort of a bubble campus within Atlanta. In a city that's practically impossible to get around without driving, GT provides honestly a super walkable campus with a healthy mix of residence halls, academic buildings, athletics, and greenery all right by each other, although not necessarily the most organized. And if you do want to get out of that bubble, either in a physical or cultural sense, and go to Midtown Atlanta either just for an evening or to actually live there as an upperclassman, you totally could while still going to GT. And so while personally I'm typically a fan of the traditional college town, I think something like GT that has its own entire campus, which I'd rate to be a pretty solid 8 out of 10, and has easy access to a big city, is probably the next best thing. But what do y'all think of bubble schools like this? Have you been to GT? Are you applying? Let me know your thoughts down below. Don't forget to drop a sub, and I'll see y'all in the next one.